Many who drive a Ferrari may not actually be rich but mediocre successes, who must have paid a huge percentage of their paycheck on a car, who must have taken a loan. We judge he's wealthy because that's the only information we have. We don't have access to their bank accounts, bank statements. We rely on outward appearances, the cars, the big houses, the vacations they go to, the Instagram pictures they post. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Neha and we are doing the summary of the book Psychology of Money. So far we had done the introduction and 4 chapters. Chapter 1 was No One's Crazy, which means before judging people we must realize that whatever decisions they make, whatever viewpoints people have, they have because of certain experiences that they've had in their lives. Chapter 2 was Luck and Risk, which are like two brothers working in opposite direction, and before we admire somebody or before we look down upon somebody, we must realize that it is also luck and risk which contribute a lot towards whatever their outcomes are. Chapter 3 was Never Enough, which signified those people who are not able to stop their goalpost from moving. It also tells about social comparison, which is a big problem and that we must completely avoid. Chapter 4 is Confounding Compounding, which is the most powerful tool when it comes to investing. Now we'll talk about Chapter 5, which is Getting Wealthy versus Staying Wealthy, which are two completely different things. The ability to stick around without being wiped out or without being forced to give up is what makes a huge difference, whether it comes to career, business, or even investing. Getting money requires taking risks, being optimistic. Keeping money requires the opposite of taking risk. It requires one to have humility and fear that whatever you have right now can be taken away from you. Compounding works wonders when you give an asset years and years to grow. For example, an oak tree. 1 year, it'll show no progress. 10 years, it will show some meaningful progress. And it is in 50 years that will show extraordinary results. But for that, it has to be able to survive all the changes, the climatic conditions, whatever they are. Similarly, we have to survive all the unpredictable ups and downs in our lives. Warren Buffett, he did not get carried away with the debt he had. He did not panic and sell during the 14 recessions that he had faced. He did not stick on to one strategy or one trend. He did not quit or retire. He survived, and survival gave him longevity, and that is why compounding worked wonders for him. A very important thing here is to have sensible optimism, which means that you must realize that odds are going to be in your favor, and over time things will balance out to give you a good outcome, even if what happens in between is misery. By age 20, an average person loses roughly around half the synaptic connections they had in their brain at the age 2. But he's smarter than he was at the age 2, right? Now, a parent might panic that, oh, my child is losing all the synaptic connections. But this tells you that destruction in the face of progress is a good way to get rid of the excess. Rather than panicking, they must understand that this is the normal path of progress. Economies, markets, careers also follow a similar path. I'd like to show you a graph of, this is it. I'll put it somewhere here. This is for real GDP per capita of America, starting 1850 and until 2010. So as you can see, it's a progressive graph. But you know what all America and American economy faced during this time? 9 major wars. 99% companies went bankrupt. There were 30 natural disasters. There were 33 recessions. 4 presidents were assassinated. So, even though a lot of ups and downs happened during this time, ultimately it is showing you a positive result, a positive graph. Next is Chapter 6, Tails You Win. So, Napoleon's definition of a military genius was the man who is able to do an average thing when all around him are going crazy. That's what a genius is. Let's talk about Disney. Disney's first studio went bankrupt. By 1930s, they had released around 400 cartoons and most of them had lost a fortune. Then came Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, and that changed everything. The debts were paid off, the key employees were given bonuses, they bought a new studio, and Walt became a celebrity, and the rest is history. Tales drive everything. Except for some fields where you have to be perfect almost all the time, for example, flying a plane. All the others, nobody takes good decisions all the time. Amazon also failed. In fact, it failed multiple times until Amazon Prime and AWS. We only see the finished product and not the losses that led to the tale that is a successful product. Next chapter, chapter 7, is freedom, and that is by far one of my favorite chapters. You must read it. I'll try to do justice with what I say, but I'm sure if you read this chapter, you'll find it very, very interesting. So, I can do whatever I want today is the highest form of wealth that there is. Now, if I ask you what is happiness for you, of course, everybody will have different answers. It is complicated because it means different thing for different people. But if I tell you the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, and for as long as you want is priceless. Money's greatest intrinsic value is in its ability to give you control over your time. If you're really wealthy, even a little bit wealthy, in real terms, you will be able to take off when you're sick without breaking bank. You will be able to wait for a good job in case you get laid off rather than picking the first one that you come across. Imagine if you have 6 months expenses set, will you be terrified of your boss? You won't be. Even more wealthy, again in real terms, you will have the ability to take up a job with a lower salary but better hours, maybe flexible hours or a shorter commute. Even more wealthy, real terms, you can retire when you want to rather than retiring when you need to. Luxury goods cannot compete with the lifestyle benefit of being able to buy time and options through money. You might love the work at your job, you might even want to work hard, but doing so at a certain schedule might make you feel like doing something that you hate. People want to have control over their time. They want to be at the driver's seat. If somebody tells them to do something, they feel like they haven't made the choice, somebody else did it for them. And so they say no or they start doing something else. Even if originally they might have been happy. Median family income in America has increased from $29,000 in 1955 to around $62,000 in 2019. The size of average home has increased from 983 square feet to 2,400 something square feet. They have more bathrooms than the occupants these days. The cars are faster, more effective. TVs are cheaper and smarter. But what has happened to our time? That's not progress. It's because of the kind of jobs that we're doing these days. For example, earlier we used to drill wells, we used to do agriculture, we used to work on machines. So you use the tools until in the factory or in the farm. Now, for example, in a marketing campaign, your tool is your brain here. Even after leaving the workplace, you're still working, thinking about it. So you're working kind of 24/7. So you're richer, but not happier. It's in a book where the author interviews a lot of elderly people. None of those elderly people tell us that you should work hard to be happy. You should have more wealth than your peers to be happy. All they value is quality friendships, being a part of something bigger than yourselves, spending time with your children. Your children don't need your money or the things that you can buy from money as much as they really need you. Highest dividend that money pays is controlling your time. Next chapter, chapter 8, is about the man in the car paradox. It says that it's not your wealth, your car, your big house, your watch that inspires people. It is your humility, your kindness, and your empathy that does. I'll keep this chapter short and simple and move on to chapter 9, which says, wealth is what you don't see. Many who drive a Ferrari may not actually be rich but mediocre successes, who must have paid a huge percentage of their paycheck on a car, who must have taken a loan. We judge he's wealthy because that's the only information we have. We don't have access to their bank accounts, bank statements. We rely on outward appearances, the cars, the big houses, the vacations they go to, the Instagram pictures they post. Wealth is what you don't see. What is a faster way to feel rich? Spend money. What is a faster way to be rich? Spend what you have, not what you don't have. Rich is good current income. Of course, someone driving a Ferrari, even if it is on debt, needs to have a certain level of income to be able to afford a monthly payment. Same for big houses. It's not hard to spot rich people because they go out of their way to make themselves known. Wealth is an option not yet taken. Its value lies in offering you options, flexibility, and growth. Wealth is like turning down that treat after you've worked out so hard, after burning that net calories. It's hard and requires self-control. It's easy to find rich but not wealthy because it's hidden. Most people want to be wealthy. They want the flexibility, they want the freedom, but ingrained in us is to have money is to spend money. We can't see the restraint it takes to actually be wealthy. Since we can't see it, it's hard to learn about it. People learn through imitation, but the hidden nature of wealth makes it hard for people to imitate and learn from it. This world is filled with two kinds of people: people who are modest but are actually wealthy, and those people who look rich but may be living at a razor's edge of insolvency. Keep this in mind while judging others' success and setting your own goal. Next chapter is chapter 10, Save Money. So there are all kinds of people: those who save, those who don't think they can save, and those who don't think they need to save. The latter two. So there are a lot of things talked about in this chapter, for example, building wealth, value of wealth, the fact that what you need should always be less than your ego. Everyone needs basics, then they need comfortable basics, then they need basics that are comfortable, entertaining, and enlightening. Spending beyond is like trying to show other people that you have money. One very good way of increasing your savings is to increase your humility. This chapter also talks about the fact that savings is more in control than you think it is, and that you don't need a specific reason to save. For example, to be able to gather the down payment for a big house or for the car. It talks about the flexibility and control over time that it gives you. Option of changing career, retiring early, freedom from worry. All of this is incalculable and you cannot put a price tag on it. If you have no control over that, you're forced to accept whatever bad luck is thrown your way. Savings, even if it gives you 0% return but gives you flexibility to take a job with lower salary but more purpose, shows an extraordinary result. Now tell me one thing, in such a competitive world, how do you stand against everybody else? How do you compete with them? Most people today, they're working with their brains and not their muscles, right? The teachers out there, the consulting, accounting, all of this requires intelligence. Intelligence basically is everywhere. So how do you compete with them? If you have flexibility and control, you can wait for good opportunities in your career. You can find a new routine, a slower pace. Think about life with different set of assumptions. That's your advantage. That's it for today, guys. I'll try to cover the rest of the chapters in my next video. Stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. And if you liked the video, if you liked the summary, please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube as well. If there's a book in your mind that you want me to summarize, please leave me a comment below. See you. Take care. Bye.